I recently came across a story that I quite liked in a book called The Sun Maiden and the Crescent Moon, which collects Siberian folk tales. There's quite a few of them that are rather interesting, especially feeding into the kind of story that I'm looking for now, which is away from a more didactic or a more moralistic form, just a pure imaginative storytelling, and the northern folk tales usually provide that. They have connections to tribal life, of course, to the life of the people that are telling those stories and their realities, and so have a certain idea of teaching stories, but it's not as industrialized, or it's not as collectivized, made turned into a commodity as tales are in our own world. Anyway, this story is called The Father of Sickness. One of our kinsmen, Nyanagarnas, went walking one day in the snow-clad taiga to look for game. But the spirits were not with him, and he caught nothing. All of a sudden, however, the day turned foggy, and he did not know which way to go to reach home again. Although he searched his way, and he searched this way and that, and he could not find the homeward path, and he eventually came upon a stream which seemed to have come from absolutely nowhere, had not been there before. When he tried to jump across that stream, he slipped and lost his footing and plunged into the water. Down and down he sank, far into the depths, until at last his head came out on the surface. Although he had been sinking through the hole of the water, and was now coming out at the other side, underneath the water. The land there stretched to the horizon without a trace of snow. Just the tips of grass were slightly whitened, as if touched by hoarfrost. He set out to cross this strange new land, looking to all sides for some sign of life. At last he spotted a young girl travelling along a track in front of him. She was riding a strangely coloured reindeer. As he ran after her, he called out, "Hey, hello there, hello there! From what tribe are you?" But the girl did not seem to hear him, for she paid no heed. As he caught up with her, he touched her lightly on the shoulder. "Who are you?" he asked. At his touch, the girl cried out in pain. "Ow! Why does my shoulder hurt so, as if somebody is stabbing me?" she cried. "What an odd girl," Nyanagarnas said. "She certainly looks like a girl from our parts, yet whatever I say, she doesn't hear me." So again he tapped on her shoulder, and once more she let out a cry of pain and said, "Ah! Ow! An evil spirit sickness has pierced my shoulder." "What a strange thing," thought Nyanagarnas. "I'll travel behind her and see where she's bound." On and on they went, with the girl constantly crying and groaning. Finally, a camp of some 5 or 6 Chooms came into view. They were of the Tungus people. Arriving at the tent, the girl entered one of them, crying loudly, "A sickness spirit struck me along the way." Nyanagarnas followed the girl into the Choom and sat down behind the tent pole, a little bit away from her. Where did the spirit strike you?" the girl was asked. But she cried out in great pain, and was too poorly to explain. And so sorry for her did our men feel, that he tried to wrap her in his parka, despite causing her more pain by the touch of his cloth, and she kept crying out. All the while the fire in the hearth crackled and hissed, as if hostile to the visitor. The people in the Choom were puzzled. They looked at each other, and they said, "Why is the fire behaving so? Why does it crackle and hiss all of a sudden? Something evil must have entered our Choom." The spirit sickness has come. What shall we do? Our poor mate will not last long unless we do something. And one of the girl's brothers then spoke up. Let us send for the old shaman who lives in the next camp. He may be able to cure our sister. It being agreed, he went off to fetch the shaman, returning with him that very evening. The shaman, he was a wizened old man, who at once began to weave his shaman spells and to talk with the spirits. Finally he said, 3 days will pass, and the girl will get better. Thereupon the shaman returned to his own tomb. But the girl, she continued to moan as one gravely ill. Day and night she lay in a fever, and at the end of 3 days was even worse than before. All the time our man sat uncomprehending in the corner, unseen by all. At last the girl's father spoke up. Our daughter is doomed. The old shaman could do nothing for her. Somewhere I've heard there is a young orphan who has become a shaman himself. He even has his drum and powerful charms. Let's summon him. The old man's eldest son again went forth, and this time brought back the young shaman. Sitting alongside the girl, the orphan shaman first took a bite to eat, then carefully and patiently laid out his shaman's attire and his drum upon the floor and looked at it, nodded, and was ready for his work. Having eaten, he began to pull on the shaman's bakari, the long fur boots. As he tied the laces of his boots, he stole a glance towards Nya Naganas. Having put on the remainder of his attire, he began to do up the thongs of his rope, and again stole a glance in the direction of our man. And our man thought to himself, "This shaman knows I'm here." The shaman finished dressing and now took up the drum, yet he still refrained from playing it. Nya Naganas meanwhile tried to hide behind the girl, pressing his face close to the girl's back so that the shaman could not see it. First from one side, then from the other, however, the shaman peered behind the girl as he beat his drum. Beating the drum now very hard and fast, he chanted loudly, "A sickness spirit has come. It came to you on the road and pierced your left shoulder. Do I speak truly?" "You do," whispered the girl. "You have the sickness of Koganguo, the evil one," continued the shaman, and turning our man, he said, "How is it, Nya Naganas, that you cling so tightly to the girl? You will tear out her soul. Tell us what it is you want. You shall have it, but let the girl go free." "Give me the strangely colored reindeer on which the girl rode in," our man said. "Give me that, and I shall depart at once." The shaman now addressed the girl's father. "The sickness spirit asks for the reindeer the girl rode. Do you give your consent?" Yes, certainly, certainly," said the old man quickly. "Good. It is settled," said the young shaman. "Now, brothers and sisters of the Tungus tribe, you must make a reindeer out of wood." So they set to making a reindeer out of wood, legs and horns and tail, and with the charred wood from the fire they drew patterns on its body. When the job was done, the shaman took up his drum and beat it loudly, jumping up and down as if running fast. Our man, Nya Naganas, quite lost his senses from all that drumming and dancing. He thought to himself, "Oh, they've prepared the reindeer for me. I must mount it and get away from here." And he climbed on the wooden reindeer's back and galloped away like the wind across the plain. All the while the shaman played his drum and danced round and round in circles until he dropped exhausted. At the same time, far, far away, on the bank of a stream, our man came to a sudden halt on his reindeer. When he looked about him, he found to his surprise that He was sitting on a wooden reindeer on the bank of the self-same stream upon which he had stumbled in the fog. What sort of shaman did this to me? He wondered. The old shaman was not powerful at all. He did not even see me, but that young orphan shaman was very strong. He made me lose my senses. Slipping down from the reindeer, he left it on the river bank and walked home, soon coming to his tomb. Once there, he told his kinfolk of his adventures in that other world. So I learned that some of us are really sick spirits, he said in conclusion. One of you, my brothers, is a piercing sickness, another is a fever sickness, and another the terrible smallpox spirit. One of us, it may be, will one day find himself in that other world, and then the same orphan shaman will not let him go. He is a very clever shaman. With these words, everyone present turned into sickness spirits. No longer were they our people. They had each and every one become a sickness. And henceforth, when someone is ill, folks say it is one of our kind who has come. And if the shaman cannot help, it is because he is like the weak old shaman. But should our sickness spirit find itself in a tomb visited by the young orphan shaman, then he will see it, and the spirit will not be able to steal a single soul.